welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you all of the great personalization options available to you for your sales charts in BuyBotPro. Now the sales charts are arguably one of the most important aspects of this tool, and it's something that pretty much every Amazon seller will be looking at when analyzing a deal before deciding whether or not it's something they're going to purchase. Simply put, the charts will help us see the item's history so we can check for consistencies, inconsistencies, trends, fluctuations, all that good stuff, and it will ultimately help us decide how the item's doing now and how it may do in the future based on what we've seen about its past. So crucial to deal analysis. Now, because they are so crucial, it's important that we can tailor these charts somewhat and make them feel more comfortable, so that way we can analyze them in a way that fits us best. So let's start with a few of the customization options. So you'll find a lot of the personalization over in the personalization settings of BuyBotPro. So just head on through to your settings and you'll find it just below your advanced settings here. So all of the chart stuff is in its own section altogether. Now what you can do is decide whether or not you want to see charts altogether. Ultimately, I'm assuming you do. The default day range, now this will determine what time period you're going to be looking at when BuyBotPro loads up. So what you're going to see first, is it going to be 30 days, is it going to be 90, 180, 365, or what's it going to be? You can choose. Now, this will just basically save you from having to come here and go, oh yeah, I just want to see the last 30 days and clicking through to 30. So if you set 30, you wouldn't have to do that. It depends really what your preferred time window is. I would say for a decent sized view of the item's history, so we can see what's been going on with it recently, I would say 90 days is a pretty good place to be. But of course that's up to you. Maybe you just want to see the last 30 days, or maybe you want to see 180. It's completely your choice. So set whichever one is your preference in here. Now the first option we have is use a stepped BSR line. So the difference is basically this. This is a chart that uses a stepped BSR line. As you can see, where we have changes in the information and where there's certain points where things have increased or decreased to hit that particular point, we can see that things are a bit more rectangular. So with the lines, they are kind of just getting to the point of where these changes are. If we turn this off, we will see the charts looking a bit more like this. So let me just zoom in a little bit. As you can see, it's not as rectangular. It's kind of fluid almost, so we can see how gradually things have moved. So instead of just getting to the point with the data, we can see how things have transitioned a bit clearer than we could do if we were to use the step BSR line. But again, ultimately you might just want to get to the point of where exactly things have changed, and it is a bit clearer using the stepped BSR. Ultimately, there's not really a wrong answer here. It's just down to your own preference. Some of you will probably prefer the stepped BSR line. Some of you might prefer it being off like this. So again, it's just to tweak it to your personal tastes. The other options below are where we can toggle off other charts that appear below our main sales chart. So it's completely up to us. Do we look at all of the charts? All of them have got their benefits, and this will basically help you decide, do you want to see the tables? Do you want to see the charts? Like, what is it? Because a bunch of these things, like the averages, for example, that is available in a table within the main BuyBotPro panel. So do you prefer the chart? Do you prefer the table? Maybe you like both. Maybe you prefer one over the other. We all like to work in different ways. So if you say prefer the table over the chart, you can toggle off price averages and you won't get that chart anymore. Vice versa, if you didn't want the table, then you can toggle off the table. So completely your choice. And if we go on over to the main sales chart, obviously we can change the time period above, we can toggle on or off certain aspects of the chart, and by doing so, it might make certain aspects easier to read. Of course, having the sell price and break even there is important. I'd advise that you have those toggled on if you don't already. Basically, this will show your sell price as input into your BuyBotPro calculator and the break even that's been worked out by BuyBotPro, and you can compare this to other aspects in the chart. For example, the buy box price, so you can see if the buy box price line compromises your sell price, so you get a feel for what kind of sell price you can expect to sell for and how that might differ to what you've got in the calculator. And of course, you can see if it compromises the break-even line, which I would say is the more important one of the two, because obviously if it goes below your break-even line frequently, then that is an indicator to you that if you were to go on this listing, the chances of a loss would be quite high because it's gone below so many times in the past. So these are great additions to the sales chart. And one of the great unique things about BuyBotPro, and of course you can click and drag, as I've shown you, to zoom into a certain part of the chart. You can reset that as well. And the newest aspect we've added is the ability to switch from line to shape for the FBM and FBA pricing. Now, when we introduced the new UI, we ensured that we pulled across the shapes that we added into the old user interface towards the end of its time. And simply put, this is because Keeper made an update to use these shapes because they are a lot more accurate than, say, using a line. Now, using a line is still going to give you good information, give you an idea of how things have changed. However, all of these dots make this information pinpoint accurate. So to give you an idea of why using a shape can be better than a line in some instances is for this reason. So let's say, for example, let me zoom in a bit. Let's say, for example, there were no FBM sellers in between, say, this point and this point, or let's say the buy box became suppressed and therefore there was no buy box on the listing, and let's say sellers dropped off and so forth. Now, we'd be able to see an obvious gap between these points, and we would probably also see from the other information as well that other bits have dropped off too, so we get a clear indicator as to something happening on this listing. Sellers dropping off, buy box not being there, for example, and that makes it very clear what's happened. However, if we had a line, we might falsely assume that this aspect has continued being this price from this point to, say, this point. Whereas the actual like with the shapes, we can see the actual changes at the points when it's necessary. If we had a line, we'd just assume it continued to be this price continually. And this, we can just get a pinpoint accurate view as to when things actually changed at those exact moments. Same for the FBA price. So it's completely up to you. If you want to flip between the two, you can change by clicking the shape or the line icon to switch back to a shape. You might want everything to be a line. You might want the FBA price and the FBM price to be shapes. Completely up to you, but we just thought it'd be a great idea to give you both options dependent on which you prefer. I hope this helps you. Thank you for watching.